What's good, everybody? It's time for a DL short. Yo, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but this latest Trump news um, development in one of his cases, because he has so many out there, can really hit him in his pockets. I mean, this thing out of New York where this judge uh, ruled that Trump committed fraud and has been doing it for years, and they're looking to claw money back. I mean, this could really put Trump on the mat. Um, and it has everything to do with the Trump and the Trump organization, um, you know, saying that he has all his money, so they would increase his value of his properties and make him look really good and really wealthy if he wanted to do something like get a loan or make some sort of deal. And then on the flip side of that, they would decrease the amount of money that he claims that he has. And when he needed something like it's time to pay taxes on that, right? So he does this huge shift. Now, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure this is commonplace within the 1%. I'm pretty sure that this is something that accountants do all over the place. It just he went so big with it, right? It was just so blatant. That's the first thing. And secondly, he held the highest office in the land. It's president of the United States. They're going to look at your business dealings. They're going to look at your documentation. They're going to look at your paperwork. And that's where I believe that Trump went wrong. But let's check out what Good Morning America has to say about this whole thing.
George, good morning to you. The civil case here is the first in a year of courtroom battles that could determine former President Trump's future, and the first round brings a resounding defeat. This morning, former President Trump is vowing to appeal a ruling by a judge in New York that found he committed years of financial fraud, inflating his net worth by as much as $2.2 billion. The judge determined the conduct so egregious and clear, there was no need to hear testimony or evidence at a civil trial set to begin next week.
That right there. When a judge looks at this, right, this is a civil thing. This isn't a criminal thing. So you don't have to, they're not bringing in jury members, and the burden of proof is way different in a civil case versus a felony or a criminal case. So, think about O.J. Simpson. He beat the murder rap, but then they wound up taking all of his money when he went back on the civil charges, right? Same thing here. So the judge looked at the paperwork and just like, bro, we don't even need to talk about this. I don't even need to hear what y'all have to say. This is insane. That's what they're talking about right now. Let's continue.
The judge decided Trump valued his Palm Beach estate, Mar-a-Lago, at 20 times what it's actually worth, $600 million, compared to the assessed value of $27 million. Trump's interest in 40 Wall Street, the judge said, is worth $200 million. The Trump Organization valued it at more than $500 million. And the judge found Trump overvalued his apartment in Trump Tower by tripling its square footage. He said it's 30,000 square feet, when in truth, the judge said it's 11,000. The judge...
Those are massive swings. Think about the amount of money we're talking about here. Think about the tax implications and stuff like that, because your taxes and all that is assessed on these numbers. People talk about our system over here like, yeah, it is corrupt. There's so many loopholes and things like that. Yeah, you can see how the 1% aren't paying the same amount of taxes as the average American, because the average American doesn't have these loopholes. If the average American had them, we would absolutely use them. So I'm not mad at the game. I'm not hating on the players. It is what it is. Sometimes you don't want to go too big. And if you do go too big, you don't want to be loud about it. Go lurk in the shadows somewhere, be quiet, and hope they don't see it. You know what I mean? But you certainly don't want to be, president of the United States and think that that's not going to come to the surface, especially in a state where people hate you. Donald Trump didn't think this through.
Adding a discrepancy of this order of magnitude by a real estate developer sizing up his own living space of decades can only be considered fraud. On the campaign trail, Trump often boasts of his business acumen.
I have some of the greatest assets anywhere in the world.
The ruling is a victory for New York Attorney General Letitia James, who sued Trump, his eldest sons, and his company last year for $250 million. In a statement, James saying she looks forward to presenting the rest of our case at trial. All that's really left for the trial to determine is how much the Trumps have to pay. The former president attacked the judge and the attorney general, calling them Trump-hating.
So the thing is this. If all this goes against Trump, this goes bad for Trump. If the rulings come down and they say, yeah, we assessed all this stuff and you owe this much money, 200 million, 300 million, 500 million, whatever they come up with, right? I'm here to tell you, as wealthy as Trump says he is, this is going to hit him in his pockets at the worst possible time. He doesn't have the money like that. He's fighting 4 cases, right? All these attorneys, he's out here doing what he's got to do. He's running for office. He ain't got money like that. And even with all the folks, the Trumpers who are out here, the average Americans out here, you know, living where they're living how they're living, they're not even going to be able to contribute enough to get him out of this, right? So he might be forced to sell Trump Towers. He might be forced to sell Mar-a-Lago. He might be forced to sell the jet and downgrade, right? He's going to have to come up with this money. And if he's forced to sell those commercial properties, right, as we're going into one of the biggest downturns in the commercial real estate business, I mean, he's going to lose a ton of money. A ton of money. You're not going to be able to get top dollar for anything commercial these days, especially in New York. I mean, the value of those buildings are already crashing. The same thing with Mar-a-Lago down here in Florida. Trump has issues. This is how people get you, whoever those people are. This is how they get you. When the government comes for you and you are facing cases and you're a kingpin, you're a person with a lot of money, they begin to affect your ability to defend yourself. They go after the bread. First thing they do with guys who are, you know, caught and they say, okay, you're a drug lord. First thing they do is seize all your assets because you need that money to defend yourself. This is how it works. He's facing 4 charges, 2 state and 2 federal, right, indictments. He's going to need a lot of money to defend himself, even though most of these cases, at least that, you know, some of these cases are open and shut like this one. Some of these cases are so blatant, like the documents that, you know what I mean, that he had. That's just going to be a problem. The thing in Georgia, that thing could go on forever, that state case. If you don't have the money to pay the attorneys to mount a proper defense, you are going to get destroyed. This is how it works. If you look at anybody who's in the game, any drug lord, or look at Supreme, like the Supreme team, they went after his money. They're going after Trump's money. They're going after his ability to defend himself. I hope he's ready because these people don't play. So that's all I got to say about that. I'll link it in the description. I'll link this news report from Good Morning America, so you guys can check it out. It really gets into the details of how they're going to go after him and how this can hurt. The stuff that I was just saying, they really get into the details of as to what properties he might have to sell and all that just to pay this stuff off. Not looking good at all for Donald Trump. Anyway, that's all I got to say, man. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll holler at you later. Peace.